All right, who here is ready for Crazy Taxi to be a complete failure when they release it? I really want to know, because I don't know. There was a pretty negative article that I read talking about the Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi remakes that are coming, and they were like, essentially the premise of the article was that they're going to be dead on arrival, right? And I was like, dead on arrival? What do you mean? And it's like, because now they're making some really big assumptions because they haven't really announced much about how these games work. They did have like a developer interview commentary type thing not that long ago. But essentially they announced that the Crazy Taxi game was going to be open world and that it was going to be multiplayer somehow. And since it was multiplayer and open world, it's going to be dead on arrival because there are so many other games that are live, quote-unquote, live service games that already have all the mind share of gamers that play them. You know, you're talking your Fortnites, your Battle Royales, you're talking your Robloxes, you're talking your Minecrafts. And so, like, any game that's, like, live service is destined to fail because you can't compete against those games. Those games are already there. Not necessarily a subscription, but the way that you play the game implies that you can only play with other people, that maybe some aspect of the game is tied to a live service, right? And that is, I mean, that's exactly what I was trying to say, Dangerous Q. Like, the first Crazy Taxi game, if you think about it, it's a course. It's a course game. It's a smaller scope, but it's an open world in that sense, right? Like, you get to choose where you go. You get to choose your routes, and then you pick it out. So, yeah, that's and the reason why every game wants to be the only game you ever play is because they make money, right? But I don't think anybody, all these games that have been coming out that are like quote unquote live service that are trying to make money in that way, I don't think they work. I just don't think they work anymore. There's too many games out there, too much of a backlog to try to make a live service game that's just going to fail out the gate. And like, I think about recent games that came out, right? The Foam Stars game was trying to be like a live service style game that looks like Splatoon, right? No one plays that. No one talks about that game anymore. Then you got the games like, what was that one game? That Dodgeball game, the Dodge Stars or whatever. That game came out. That game died within a few years. There are certain exceptions to the rule, of course, and everybody's not. I think people are not designing games to be fun anymore. They're just trying to design games to try to be the next live service thing that you dump a whole bunch of money into. And I feel like that's such a risky way to design stuff. And like, if you think about it that way, if Crazy Taxi is trying to do that with that whatever the new open world stuff, if they really try to go down that route and make it in that way, then yeah, I could see it being destined for failure, which kind of sucks. I don't like that. I don't like that idea. And I'm over here thinking to myself, I just don't want Jet Set Radio to suck. The only reason anybody cares about Splatoon is because it was made by Nintendo. Nintendo could crap a turd the size of a gamer's face. Yeah? I mean, yeah. Live service games have me so exhausted. People on Twitter constantly talking about play counts, freaking out when a 3-month-old game loses a bunch of players, like it's not supposed to happen naturally. Well, yeah. I mean, well, think about it. Of course they're going to freak out because if no one plays the game, then there's no game. The game dies, right? So many of these games are going to die eventually. You know, that such is the way because of the nature of the game. The nature of the game is playing online with other people and try to make as much money as possible. And or, you know, you could look at a good example of one that like was a sleeper hit. Everybody heard about it. Everybody knows about it. It's the freaking the Helldivers, right? Helldivers 2. Game was amazing. It was on PlayStation. Came out of nowhere. People loved it. You know, the game, presentation, everything else. And then there's just a bunch of boneheaded moves from the executives. Right? You have to have, if you're going to play it on PC, you have to have a Sony account. People in certain countries can't make Sony accounts, so there goes your player base. People get really mad. They kind of revert that. Then they did some other they balanced the game based on how good players are. So that is a moving target, which is really dangerous, and so they're constantly changing how, oh, this is the best weapon in the game, not anymore, better use something else. That kind of nonsense. Like, that is too much power over a video game. Dangerous Key says, live service games have me so exhausted. People on Twitter constantly talking about player counts. Right, we just talked about that. And then it says everything has a leveling system, a battle pass, a daily, weekly homework. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm on the same page, man. I hate it. I hate that that's what games are now. That's why I keep saying indies are the future, man. Play your indie games. Play your Animal well. Play Animal well. Thank you. Oh, I don't think anybody in here plays Apex, but yeah, there's something that Apex is recently doing, which you guys may or may not have heard of. Apex is a battle royale, and they have their own battle pass system and everything, right? And normally, how they did it from the start, when they first started offering a battle pass, you buy the first one with cash, or rather, you buy in-game currency. Then you use that currency to buy the battle pass. It was equivalent about $10. Then you complete your battle pass, so that gives you encouragement to play through the whole season, right? But as you are unlocking rewards in your battle pass, you play a game, you get some rewards. When you complete the battle pass, you earn back enough of the in-game currency you can use to buy the next battle pass. So next season, you already have enough money because presumably you finished the battle pass. You can use that in-game currency to then buy the next one, and it sort of feeds into the system. And so what happens is you're able to play the game. Not only are you playing the game, which is free to play game, but you get like rewards for consistently playing it because you finished the battle pass, right? And that's what they want. They want a healthy population to make the game worth playing. That's ultimately the goal. Do that for 20 seasons, and people get used to that, right? That is the understood, like, this is the deal. I'll keep playing your game if you keep offering me rewards that are interesting that I want to get. Now they've announced that for this upcoming season, you can't use your coins anymore. You can't use your in-game coins. You have to now purchase the battle pass. You can spend $10 of actual money, not in-game currency. You actually put in $10, and then they'll give you a battle pass. And then that battle pass doesn't last you the whole season. It's only for the first half. They do a split, what's called a ranked split. People play the ranked modes that actually, you know, in theory, it's supposed to put you against other higher ranked players, and the more times you win, you can raise your rank like any other game that has a ranking mode. And then halfway through the season, which tends to be, I don't know, about 12 or 13 weeks, they reset they do a reset of ranked, and you drop a couple of levels so that you can then earn those ranks again. So it keeps the people who play ranked engaged in the game and playing. So now what they're doing is they're tying the mechanics of the battle pass to that. So now you can only earn half as many levels within a period. So you get a $10 battle pass for 60 levels as opposed to a Apex coin in-game currency battle pass for 110 levels for the whole season. And then halfway through the season, if you want to, you can purchase another $10 battle pass. So that's $20 a season. Then, in the original battle pass, the way it used to work, you could earn legendary skins. Like, these are like really fancy custom skins for your characters that are like uniquely designed. That used to be part of the previous battle pass. On this new battle pass, it's part of the premium tier, the premium plus. It's not just enough to pay $10. If you pay an additional $10, now you have access to that premium plus skin that is part of that battle pass. So what you're looking at, conceivably, every season, you can spend up to $40 on what used to be a one-time purchase that you could feed into season to season. And as you can imagine, the community has burnt they burnt the internet down on every forum, on every conceivable forum, on every plate, on Twitter, on Reddit. Nobody's happy about this. Nobody wants this. And somehow EA is pushing forward, and they're going to do that. They're just going to keep doing it. Yeah, every season, if you want to get all the rewards that they used to offer for relatively cheap or free, you now have to spend $40 every season. Which over the course of a year, 4 seasons, you're talking $40, $80, $120. You know, $160. And then, yeah, you still have to earn those rewards, right? So you get the battle pass. It's not like you just get all that stuff unlocked. You have to still play the game, unlock the things by earning experience. And if you don't unlock them within a certain time period, it's understood that you'll lose access to the previous battle pass. Because the way the battle passes on Apex work, once the season's over, if you haven't completed the battle pass, you don't get to keep anything beyond the levels you haven't earned, right? So they want you just to keep playing, but pay for the privilege of doing so, right? What used to be a nice way to keep the player base engaged and coming back for rewards is now being milked for everything it's worth. And that, my friends, is how you ruin an extremely popular game that's a battle royale, by monetizing the crap out of it. And Apex has its problems. There's a lot of issues with like netcode and like stability, and their servers run at a 20 hertz tick rate. So you can imagine the game that runs at like 60 to 120 frames, the network interactions only run at 20 hertz, you know? And so there's a lot of instances and situations where, you know, I swore I hit that guy, but they shot me from behind cover, like that kind of nonsense, because of the tick rate being so low. So yeah, it's like, and because they're so popular, because they are arguably the #1, you know, best feeling battle royale to play on the market right now, they have no real incentive to fix any of the problems, right? And that in itself is why there's so many people up in arms. It's just messed up. And like the audacity of them asking for more money for and changing how all this stuff works is, you know, insulting. But then they don't use that money then to fix the problems. They don't use that money to buy more servers. They don't, you know, if there was like some type of understanding there, well, I mean, you know, they were kind of locked into that, right? Like it's Source, but it's like Source with a very big asterisk, because there's so many different branches of Source. There's a guy on YouTube who made a really cool video about like all the different permutations of the Source engine, and like Apex runs on like some version of Source like 3 times removed from like the original branch, which you know, it kind of puts things into perspective, because they built a lot of custom code for Titanfall, and then the Titanfall stuff fed into Apex. So it's not just like, to say Source doesn't paint the whole picture, right? Like it is Source as a base, but there's like a lot of other modifications that were made specifically for that game. But yeah, I agree. Like that game is on its 5th year now. Apex Legends is, and it's like it's long overdue, like a complete rewrite. But again, they're not going to do it. They have no financial incentive to, because they're making gangbusters. Right? There's whales out there that spend a lot of money apparently, and they're really, I think they're just pushing their luck. Like I think they don't care. They're going to do it, and they're going to say, okay, well, this is what it costs now, and you're just going to have to eat it, right? And so yeah, now I've never seen, like, the Reddit moderators have actively been deleting posts, getting rid of people who keep posting about it, because they just don't, you know, they cite the rules. Yeah, don't post about something, we already have a sticky post or whatever. But like it's one of the most downvoted posts on that Reddit, and there's if there was something as close to 100% universal agreement, it's nobody likes the battle pass changes. Nobody wants it. Nobody likes it. And like that's the problem with like really popular live service games. And then on the other side of the spectrum, if you're not as popular as Apex and you're not making billions of dollars a year, your game is done. In a year, you're cooked. No one wants to play your game anymore. It's just, you know, it's embarrassing. And so it's like you gotta play retro stuff. You gotta play indie things. You can play higher. You gotta support the little guys, right? I'm okay with a game ending. In fact, I like a game that ends. I get stuck on these games. Like, this is why I got stuck on Destiny for a while. I got stuck, and then after that I played The Division for a while. I'm currently playing Apex. Like, these are good games. They play well. They feel good. The competitive thing is fun. But, you know, I wish there was an easy way to, like, say, like, yeah, play more games. Just play, like, this is why I'm playing this, guys. This is why I'm playing Outrun right now. This game doesn't ask anything for me. In fact, I didn't even pay for this, right? I'm not saying pirate all your games. That's not exactly what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, you know, play other stuff. Support the devs that are making good games. Support the small guys. If you play a game and you spent like $10 or $20 on it and it only lasts you 10 hours, 5 hours, did you have a good time? That's the first thing you should be asking yourself. Did I have fun with this game? And if you had fun with this game, then you've got your money's worth. You don't have to sit there and like look at everything as a time cost benefit analysis, and like you have to manage hundreds of hours of gameplay, or it's not worth it, or limitless customization, or if the game doesn't have an easy way to mod it, I'm not going to play it, because that's another thing that people look at nowadays. How easy can I mod this game? I want this game to last forever. On one hand, it's kind of a compliment if you think about it. Like, okay, yeah, I like your game so much that I don't want it to end, so I'm going to mod it and do things so that I can keep playing it. Sometimes mods are not just about like preservation. Sometimes it's just about adding new features. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is a good example, right? That's an indie game. It has a certain playtime, but people have modded character models. They've made their own stages. It's not necessarily intended, but because it's Unity and it's easy to do and people understand it, you know, you can go in and do whatever you want. That's great. But not every game has to be that, right? Like a game can just be a game. Like you don't have to decide what a game is. The dev who made the game puts it out there, you play it, and you support, you know, the effort, the talents of these people, and then you can move on and play something else. You don't necessarily have to keep playing the same game forever. I don't understand. Maybe I'm too old. Maybe it's a generational thing. I like the idea of mods. Like Unreal Tournament was probably my first experience with like mods. What do they used to call them? They didn't call them modifiers. They had a specific name for them. What was the Unreal Tournament nomenclature? I'm about to look it up. Tournament mods or something. I'm sure somebody in the chat knows. Was it as simple as like a modifier? Oh, what the heck was it called, man? Smart stock bots. I can't remember. They had a name for them, and I can't remember now. Whatever. I guess we'll just call them mods. But I remember there was like an in-game name for them. Maybe it was modifiers. Whatever. The point is, yeah, that's my first exposure to that concept, right? More than 10-hour single-player games that you play, hopefully enjoy, and then you're done with it. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. You can finish a game, feel good about it. You got your money's worth. It left a mark, left a positive experience, hopefully, or some experience, make you feel some kind of way. And you say you did it, and you're there, and you're good, and you're happy with what you did. You know what I'm saying? Mutators. There you go. A mutator is another name for a mod. I couldn't remember what they called them. That's it. Mutators. And you know, Jayham, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe it's people who don't spend money, or rather can't spend money without asking someone else for it. I get that. I understand that. I was there. You know, I was there. We were all there at some point. Can't afford to buy everything, but I'm not saying buy everything. I'm saying be judicious with your time and your money. Get ready. Pick experiences. Don't pick games. Pick experiences. You know what I mean? Get some good experiences under your belt, you know? Get some good, and emulate. Shoot, man. There's like several generations of video games that are so easily emulatable. You can play them in your stupid browser. Play stuff like that, you know? If you're not, even if you're not supporting like the new guys, the indie dudes who are arguably, a lot of them are influenced by like those classic games. You can there's a whole history. There's a breadth of human history in old games that you can go back and emulate, you know? And if you want to spend a little extra money and get like FPGA solutions, or you know, get bespoke hardware, bespoke tessellation engines, just play the old stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so much crap out there. Yeah, and speaking of PS3, well, speaking of Sony, PCS X2, this version 2.0 just released today, and it has like a ton of fixes. You can emulate PS2 games almost perfectly on like a semi-reasonable PC, and they just released the newest emulator today. You can get the 2.0 version, which doesn't require plugins for games. They fixed compatibility with a lot of stuff. You can go back and play PS2 and older like super easy. Just do it, man. Like I know I'm kind of talking to the choir, but like I'm hoping that this VOD will stay up, and if people listen that far, they might hear what I'm saying. You know, maybe I'll clip this out later and like post it online or something on my social media. But yeah, man, like that's what's up, dude. Yeah, check it out. Like they apparently fixed a lot of bugs. Like I guess Midnight Club had an issue with like skies or something, and they fixed that. And then there's some blurry textures for Destroy All Humans that they fixed. And they have an engine now where you can like do HD texture packs. They don't support it officially. I mean, they don't offer support for HD texture pack troubleshooting, but people who have made them can apply them, and you can like. The example they showed was a Crash Bandicoot with like super sharp textures that I guess they ripped from like the PS4 remakes, and it looks great. You can play the original PS2 version with like super nice textures at high def with like a lot of nice. Oh my God, Seal! A lot of nice stuff, you know, improvements or whatever. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm just half the time I'm like talking into the void. I feel like it sometimes.